What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pre-Scout live on Wager Talk TV, also live across X and multiple social platforms. This is the show we're going to look at overnight odds, overnight picks, looking at the next day's slate. And I cannot wait for this season, guys. It's going to be a 5-day-a-week show. We're going to have all kinds of guests, but more importantly, we're going to break down games, look at props, look at sides, look at totals, and of course, take comments from all of you guys. I'm super excited. 10 p.m. Eastern every single night. You guys can count on us being here. I'm going to have all kinds of handicappers from Wager Talk. I'm going to have all kinds of guys from Twitter, from different networks, reporters from teams. We're going to look at it all. And I think the best part about this, guys, is going to be when the slate is wrapping up from the current day, we are going to be looking at the next night of games. And I cannot wait for that, guys. This is going to be a season of being prepared, of being ahead of the number. And that's why it's called the Pre-Scout. We want to get ahead of things, look at the picks overnight, and try and put ourselves in the best possible spot that we can get to. First and foremost, huge shout out to all of you guys that are here right now watching. Shout out to everybody that's engaged so far and definitely supported this so far as we have gotten into this. But we are super excited, and I cannot wait for the opening night in the NHL. On this show, guys, we're going to talk about hot topics. Usually we're going to start the show off looking at hot topics, looking at breaking news, talking about some of the games we saw each night in the NHL already, and some breaking news we saw. And then we'll dive right into the games, hottest picks, best bets, and all kinds of stuff that we like. And then towards the end of the show, we'll have it opened up, look at questions, and get your guys' opinions and your questions featured in the chat box. First of all, shout out to Mason. Super happy to have Mason here as always. Lou is with us. Ethan is with us. And all of you guys watching live across YouTube and X, appreciate every single one of you. Guys, we want to bring in Carmine, and Carmine is, of course, here with me to be the first guest on the show. And Carmine and I have been doing puck time together for many years. We start back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. But of course, because the slate starts tomorrow, we are here tonight to look ahead and break things down. Before we jump into the games, we're going to look at some futures, and we're going to talk about some breaking news. But without further ado, let's bring Carm in to get things going. Carm, how are you?
I'm good. I'm keeping an eye on you and in our live chat while also watching the KC Jacksonville Jaguars game. So a lot of action going on, Andrew. But yeah, NHL kicking off. I've been keeping up to date on the news and some pretty good news if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But yeah, puck time kicks off tomorrow, 11 a.m. We are it's going to be a little bit different this season, puck time. It is still going to be live, 11 o'clock every single day that there are games. Somehow, Friday, there are no games in the NHL. It's a day off on Friday, but we will have, similar to Wager Talk today, we'll have guests who come in and just preview one game and one and done, and let us know what they have up at Wager Talk. And this way we can fit in a couple more guests, a couple extra games. You guys asked for it. You asked for more games. We're going to try and give you more games as well too. And then Andrew and I will do our normal breakdown of 3 different games.
Carm, the NHL is starting fast with us. So they're giving all kinds of matchups. We got some good rivalry games Wednesday. Thursday, we dive right in. You know I'm pumped for the Canadiens against the Maple Leafs, of course. And then all of a sudden we dive into Thursday, the big slate. And then Saturday's obviously a big matchup as always. But as you mentioned, you talk about the football game going on. That's going to be one issue I'm going to have with this show. It's going to be managing not talking about too much stuff going on, but still talking about stuff going on, because I want people the next day to still be able to watch the show and not be sweating out bets that they already know the score of. So that's going to be a little bit difficult for me. I'll try and kind of manage that. But before we jump into futures, before we jump into maybe some player props and all that good stuff, and some team over unders and awards, you touched on it, man. Connor McDavid, 2-year deal. Everyone's talking about the big deal that, the fact that he only signed for 12.5. That's unbelievable. People are excited about that. Good for him. But all I read into that is 2 years, man. 2 years. It's almost like he's saying, hey, you guys got me for a couple more years. And if you don't perform for me and you don't go out and build a team for me, then I'm out of here. So I know everybody is kind of hyped up for him with the discount card, but at the same time, that 2 years is also just like, hey guys, I gave you a discount. Now go make something happen. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I see it as a discount. I see it as I guess the right word would probably be a selfless act by him. He's, like you said, he's given the team a couple of years. He is signed at a price much below what he is worth, being the best player in the league as far as I'm concerned. And he's left room because of his AAV or AVV. He's left room in the salary cap that they can strengthen the team and possibly get them over that hump. Making it to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row and losing to the Florida Panthers it's not chopped liver. You played against a fantastic Florida team, but you were the best of the West. You made it there. He's given a couple chances, and then he is going to get his bag of money in 2 years' time. He is going to get his bag of money, whether it's in Edmonton or whether it is in one of those places on the West Coast or in New York, where they seem to have a ton of money. He is going to get his money somewhere. I know Leaf fans are probably tuning in thinking he would look fantastic in a Leafs uniform, but there are too many people making too much money. If the salary cap continues to move up, maybe there's some room, but you'd have to make some adjustments. But kudos to him, man. He put the team. It's hard to say a guy making $12.5 million, Andrew, puts a team before himself, but he has. You have to understand that this guy could have signed and gotten one of the biggest contracts in the NHL and chose to do it this way. So kudos to Connor McDavid. You got to love the guy. It is, you have to respect him. You have to love him. And like you said, he's given the team 2 years. Do it.
Yeah.
Or we'll see you later.
I got to respect it, but I'm just going to say this, Carm. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals back-to-back years. The Florida Panthers were just such a great team. It almost looked like in the post-game press conference after the Edmonton Oilers lost last year, the players weren't even as sad as they were the first time, because it's almost like they just knew the Florida Panthers players were that much better than them. And picking up Seth Jones, picking up Brad Marchand. My point I'm bringing here is, man, it's hard to go back to the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, could you imagine if they went a third time and lost? But not even just that. Going a third straight time is going to be hard when you've got your Vegas, you've got your Dallas, you've got, your Avalanche, you've got your LA Kings, you've got multiple teams that are going to be knocking on that door. And now McDavid's saying, hey, I'm giving you guys a few years. Now you better go make something happen. You mentioned the 12.5 discount. One more piece of news I wanted to mention. Well, I got a couple more rapid things to throw at you before we get to some actual picks. But Kirill Kaprizov, man, $17 million. I know Minnesota isn't exactly the hockey market of maybe, let's say, Toronto or Edmonton or New York or, a place like that. But Minnesota, they call it the state of hockey, but they're not exactly getting all the free agents. So when you have a player like that, you got to keep them. The salary cap's going up, but he played hardball and they pretty much gave him whatever they wanted. $17 million a year, Carm, for Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. On a side note, I think like a 99-yard interception return for the Jags. I'm trying to keep both these things balanced. Wow, man, that's anyways. Listen, Minnesota. I think Minnesota is a hockey town. I go back to when they were the Minnesota North Stars, and that team. That city deserves a hockey team. They deserve a player like him. And I just hope that, we see guys get their money and then sort of drop off a little bit and not have the greatest of seasons. I don't think that's going to happen with him. I think he continues to have a good season for them. and kudos to him for getting what he deserves, and for the Minnesota Wild for paying it. So I think that's great as far as Minnesota goes. You know what I mean? And, we're seeing some last minute moves. We're seeing some people picking up players. Even the Maple Leafs picking up. They picked up Caden Primo. I saw.
Yeah. And
as
Sammy Blais.
Yeah. So that's an interesting move. But
all right, last one, Carm, for you. Last one before we get to
fire away,
picks.
man.
We got to talk about Mitch Marner. I mean, everybody that's in here right now is a hockey guy. I got my buddy Dayton Camo in here with us. We've got David that just joined us. Vito just joined us. Mitch Marner. Look, without getting into the reasonings, okay? We don't need to get in. We're not a hockey talk show. We're not in Toronto going to talk about the protection around him or the safety concerns. Just strictly hockey-wise, how can you not love Vegas going into this year? How can you also not love season-long Jack Eichel props? I mean, the sidekick now. I mean, it's going from the Matthews Marner show to the Marner Jack Eichel show. That Vegas team's going to be deep. And then, of course, the Maple Leafs, it's now Michelli, Nicholas Waugh, and Dakota Joshua. Those three players all in one to replace one player in Marner. You know it, Carm, living in Ontario, you hear the media and stuff, but eventually something was going to change. And you and I love poking fun on Puck Time about this team. Once they got bounced in Game 7, I remember that clip that you made on TikTok that got a bunch of views where you're like, you are wasting your money if you bet on them in this game. But a new era, man, in Toronto. It's no longer the core four. It's missing one of those guys now, and Marner goes to Vegas.
Yeah, listen, it's I think it's something that had to happen. The culture in Toronto, for those of you that are not in Toronto or the surrounding area, the culture here is the media just eats up on people, and you just know the way it is with social media. When the media reports it, people tweet about things, and everyone's a tough guy behind a keyboard, unfortunately. And but threatening, it's a sport at the end of the day. Like, fans threatening Marner and his family to the point where he needs to have security outside of his house is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what is wrong with people? So,
I agree.
I think it's something that benefits both. It gives him a fresh start in Vegas. He's going to have he's looking like he's enjoying life there. He's going to have a fantastic time out there. And for the Leafs, they can start the season without that white noise that followed the Leafs and the players being asked constantly about Mitch Marner. That doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, now it's they have to replace someone who had 102 points. But it is it's like the next man up, Andrew. It's by committee. They'll find the guys. It is. You also have to remember, this is a different. It's a different team in the works by Craig Berube. This is his second full season with the Leafs. He's trying to instill a team that plays and thinks defense first. We saw a drop off last season with Austin Matthews, and yeah, sure, he had some health issues and some injury issues, but it's the guy who scored 60 plus goals the previous season and pretty much half of that last season. But it's a team that is focusing on playing D, because when you get to the playoffs, defense wins. It does. Look at the Florida Panthers. They absolutely mug you on the ice. They stifle you. So, with that said, that is, I think that is what Berube's modus operandi is he's going to get this team to be a better defensive team. They have guys who can score. They have a power play that will be able to do the job, more than enough tools on that power play. The Leafs will be fine. I was on Wager Talk today, and one of my client plays, which I gave out on the show, and I'll post a link of it on the X a little later or early tomorrow morning. But the Leafs season total points is 99.5 points. And I see them going over that number. You look at the last three seasons for the Leafs: 111 3 years ago, 102 2 years ago, 108 last year. And now while you're missing Mitch Marner, Andrew, you have a team that, at least inside the division, where they play more games against division opponents. You have the Bruins, who are going to be in a retool, rebuilding year. I think the Bruins team total points is 80.5. That tells you something from a team that, 3 years ago? Was it 2 or 3 years ago? Won the
3 years
President's
ago.
Trophy with like 130 points, 50-point drop off. It
Yeah.
is a retool for them. So, with that said, you get to play teams like that. I think Tampa Bay is a threat to win the Atlantic Division. I honestly think Tampa Bay this year could get it done. So the Leafs and Tampa are going to get their points. I think I kind of like both teams to go over their point totals, but the Leafs was a client play and is a client play at 99.5 points. So you're getting a little bit of free info.
All right, that's what I want. That's what we're here for. Look, Carm, we got 480 people watching this show right now. Hopefully a ton more of you guys joining in, watching overnight, watching on YouTube, watching on X as well. If you're with us on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Really helps us out. Also, comment below. Kaprizov, $17 million. McDavid, 12.5 times 2 years. And Marner going to Vegas. Which one is the bigger deal to you? Which one will change the league more down the line? You guys let us know. And also, we want to hear from you. Carm and I are wondering, which team do you think will make the biggest jump or decline going into this year? That's the big question. Let us know in the live comment as well. Which team takes the biggest jump forwards and which team takes the biggest dive? All right, Carm, it's time for some picks. We are 6 people away from 500 people being watching right now. Let's get into some picks. You teased a couple of picks here, but give us a team you think will do better this year than they did last year.
Better this year than I think they did last year. When Andrew, I'm going to go in a couple different things. When you look at this one, and it's easy to say this is a very good team, and it's a team that, early on I picked up some future bets on them just because, I could see if they get off to a very good start this season, that the number is going to drop on them, and that is Colorado. The Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be one of the elite teams in the Western Conference. And a lot of it also has to do with, the moves that they made last season, but also they get Landeskog for a full season. Right from the get-go, they have Landeskog, a guy who'd missed, he was in the playoffs last year, but had missed the prior 2.5 years. In the NHL, they get him for a full season. You already have McInnis there. You look at the team, and they picked up from Carolina. Who was it? Nekis from Carolina as well too. I'm not worried about when people talk about sometimes goaltending. This Colorado Avalanche won a Stanley Cup with Darcy Kemper.
Exactly.
So you just need a goalie to get hot. Unfortunately, the goalies are always the ones to get blamed when a team plays bad defensively. The Oilers play bad defensively. It's all Stuart Skinner's fault. But Stuart Skinner shuts them out, and it's like, okay, well, the Oilers played good D, so Skinner didn't have to do much. Sometimes we have to lay off the goalies. Sometimes they're to blame, but not always, Andrew. I think Colorado is plus 900. There's a couple places that had 10-1. And those are the numbers that I snapped up. I snapped up the 10-1s because I thought that they should be about plus 800. So you're getting a little bit extra value. You have to take it. So
I like it.
It's I'm
a Avalanche guy because of McKinnon. I like McKinnon and stuff. But this team, I think, went through a lot last year with the whole Rantanen stuff, and I think that can kind of mess with a roster a bit, don't you think? Hockey teams don't like drama. They don't like dealing with drama at all.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. So, you have a Colorado team now that if they can have a good season and they can win the division, it puts them in a much better spot than they were last season, where they basically were on the road. And I think they were the number 3 seed in the division, if I remember correctly. But it is tough when you have a 7-game series against the Dallas Stars or the Vegas Golden Knights, who seem stacked this season, or even the Edmonton Oilers. you want to have home ice against them. It is so important to have home ice in those ones. With some teams, I don't think it really matters. You know what I mean? Like Florida. When we look at Florida, Andrew, you know, they're starting the season off with no Barkov. So that's going to hurt the team right off the bat. Tkachuk and Nosek are on the long-term injury reserve, so they're going to return at some point. But they still have a very good team. They can do without those three guys. But again, that is you've got to shift some lines around. You got to get these guys going, and they've been doing it in preseason, getting ready for this. But it does take its toll because a guy like Matthew Tkachuk is a leader in the dressing room. He's a leader on the bench. We saw when he couldn't play, but he still sat on the bench against the Vegas Golden Knights 3 years ago because his, you know, with his shoulder and what have you. So you need those guys. Barkov quietly always has a good season and is one of the best players. So it's going to be a little tough on Florida to start the season, although they do get a bit of a layup for tomorrow. Although I think I have the record somewhere and I'll find it and I'll talk about it on Puck Time tomorrow. But teams lifting the banner, the record of teams lifting the banner, I had it somewhere. So I will.
I've got it here too. I mean,
it
was really, really good long term. Very, very good long term, like the last 20, 30 years. But units wise, the last decade hasn't been that good. It's been like 50-50 as far as the win percentage is concerned. You take into account the fact that they're always usually favorites, then the record declines quite a bit. All right, here's a pick for you guys. Nashville Predators under 85.5 points. This team went from 99 points 1 year, Carm. The next year they had 68 points. So the odds makers are thinking, what the hell do I do with this number? 99 points one year, 68 points the next year. What can I do there? Sure, there were injuries. Sure, there were offensive issues. There were struggles defensively. This team is veteran built. But one thing about the NHL right now, it's fast. You cannot just be a team with a bunch of vets. And I felt like over there in Nashville, they just tried to kind of bring a bunch of veteran players together. And it just hasn't really worked yet. I feel like looking at their division has a lot of youth, a lot of young guys, and maybe the vets can win some games for them. But as far as a long season's concerned, I think this number 85.5 is just a little bit too big. So under 85.5 is one future I like on the points for the Nashville Predators. All right, I'm going to throw one more play as far as a future is concerned, and you can give out anything else, and then you and I will move to tomorrow. And I want to get your thoughts on this, okay? You can call me biased all you want. Here comes the first biased take, guys, potentially, of the show. And we're going to be doing 5 days a week of this show. It's probably going to be a lot of them. Carm, and no, it's not Montreal. It's not Montreal to win the Stanley Cup. It's not Montreal to win the Stanley Cup. All right, but it is a Montreal Canadian. It's a Montreal Canadian future. Martin St. Louis, 12-1 to win the Jack Adams Trophy. He was a Jack Adams finalist this past season. He was a top 3 in the voting. The team had a disastrous October, a disastrous November. The December was okay. They came out after the Four Nations, went on an absolute tear, and found their way into the postseason. This is a guy, when he first arrived at the team, when they fired their coach, Dominic Ducharme, they were a bottom feeder. He arrived during the rebuild, and now he's here. Slavkovsky got drafted. Demidov gets drafted. Lane Hudson gets drafted. They're building a core. They trade for Noah Dobson. They trade for Zach Bolduc. At 12-1, it's intriguing for me here, Carm. And to me, this is the best way. If I want to bet anything on the Montreal Canadiens, this is what I want to bet. Here's something as well. Ivan Demidov is plus 190 to win the Calder Trophy. First time ever an opportunity for a team to have back-to-back Calder Trophy winners, which is kind of crazy, Carmen. It'd be the first time ever. That number is awful. Do you want to bet a guy plus what? Do you want to tie your money up all season long for a plus 190? No, but I think if he has a good season, then it definitely helps the case for the Jack Adams Trophy to be won. So give me your honest thoughts. But we're looking at the awards right now. Let me find it here. The Jack Adams. You've got Andre Tourigny, Joel Quenneville, and Martin St. Louis are the top three. And of course, Andre Tourigny, the head coach of Utah Mammoth. First time saying Mammoth on a Wager Talk show this season. But yeah, I think it's a good bet here. 12-1, Carm. It's a pretty good price.
Yeah, no, I think it is a good price. I'm going to throw Jack Adams one at you as well, too. Andrew, not to hijack your pick, but I'm going to go one further. A team that missed the playoffs last season, bringing a brand new coach. You know what I'm talking about. Mike Sullivan and the New York Rangers to get back into the playoffs. And I get it. Listen, this division has Carolina, has New Jersey, who I think are going to have a better season this year as well, too. But if the Rangers can finish in one of the top two spots and have a good season, and they're going to need the bread man to be healthy, Panarin, if they can get a good season going, then you have to throw Mike Sullivan at 22-1 into the mix. So, first game out, and this is a perfect segue. His first game with the Rangers, and who does he have to play? His former team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, on Tuesday night.
They're not messing around. They like doing it, Carm. They like the drama. They want to build that up. It's the same thing you see every year with the NBA, the Christmas Day games. You see Thanksgiving in the NFL. They love the drama. I got to give you credit because that's really, really good price on that. And the New York most certainly underachieved last year. New captain, too. They go from the Trouba train, to JT Miller. I'll tell you, I listened to a bunch of podcasts all summer about the NHL, and one podcast said, isn't it kind of a bad thing if a player that only was on your team for a few months ends up being the captain of that team? What does that say about the leadership that was in that room if a guy that's only been there for a few months is now the captain? And I know that's kind of the pessimistic way of looking at it, but it also means, hey, they clearly were lacking some voice in the room if a guy that just got there is now the captain. But anyway, Carm, we got to get to some. Yeah,
Andrew, and I've been watching like some preview shows as well too. And let me tell you, I was watching the NHL one today on TSN up here in Canada, which is like your ESPN down south. And listen, I was watching. They were predicting the Final Four and the Stanley Cup winners, which is so tough to do this early in the season. But then Craig Button goes one step further and does the whole bracket, the 16 teams to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. And he must have dipped into, I hate making fun of people, but he must have dipped into the Prez's edibles because he has the Anaheim Ducks in the playoffs. And I don't see
everyone likes them this year, man. Carm, everybody likes the Ducks this year. I'm telling you, it's weird.
Their season point total is 84.5. They could beat that and still not make the playoffs because you're probably going to need about 99 points to make it in the Western Conference. And you look at the teams in the Western Conference, and you can name 6 off the top of your heads that are going to make the playoffs, and then 2 teams fighting for a wild card. The Edmonton Oilers are going to be there. You expect a bounce back from the Vancouver Canucks. The Dallas Stars are going to be there. Colorado is going to be there. The LA Kings are going to be there. That the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be there. There are 6 already right there. And the St. Louis Blues, another team that just missed out. Had the St. Louis Blues last year advanced, I think, in their series. They're one team that could have given teams, because they lost in that first round, right? They're the one team that could have given other teams fits. Just the style they were playing. They weren't losing games at home. They had won something like 1 million games at home. Yes, yeah. I'm overreacting, but they had won something like 16 or 17 or 18 games in a row at home. Just a tough team to beat on home ice. They would have given some teams fits last season. And I don't see them dropping off. So there's like 7 teams. And now you have the rest of the teams and who can make it. You know, I mean, you got the Calgary Flames. Do they make it? Who knows? Sorry, the Winnipeg Jets. I completely forgot about the Winnipeg Jets.
It's a
as
tough
well
division
too. So it is. I don't see how Anaheim makes it. They would have to have a monster year in which they get 100 points, 16 points above what their projection is. I don't see it. Do you guys in chat see it?
Also, let's not act like Chris Kreider is just this young guy again. Anaheim's going to be a tough team to play against. Carm, here's what I would describe the Anaheim Ducks. They're going to be a more fun team to watch. If you have your TV on and you see an Anaheim Ducks game on, it might be entertaining to watch. Entertaining to watch doesn't mean they're going to win the Stanley Cup. It means fun to watch, skillful players. That's all that means. All right, Carm, first of all, I got to say, I love that we're both have the same sweater on right now. That was not planned whatsoever, but got to just shout that out real quick. All right, we got to get to some picks for tomorrow. We'll be quick. Anything you have, Carm, anything you want to mention. Before we do that, though, we got something we got to mention here. Promo code NHL200. $200 off the full season pass. WT.buzz/AM for myself. WT.buzz/CB for Mr. Carmine Bianco. We're ready to have a huge season, guys. We're both betting sides, totals, props, team totals, whatever it is that we can make money on. You guys can find that at our pages, WT.buzz/AM. The 5% plays were fantastic last season. And look, you guys on the pre-scout and on Puck Time are going to get a ton of free plays from me. My best bets, 5% plays, 4% plays for the most part, are all going to be just for clients. So if you want to join me, get all my best bets. And right now as well, Carm, we've got 1 month NHL specials and 1 week available at our pages. So if you guys don't want to dip your toes in yet on the full season packages, you can get 1 week or 1 month. But promo code, guys, if you are going to buy my full NHL season or Carmine's full NHL season, make sure you use that promo code NHL200. Take $200 off that whole entire season. All right, Carm, let's dive into tomorrow. Yep. Let's look at it. Let's go to the Odds Logic page because we have to shout out Odds Logic. Always want to make sure we get the odds up there. And while I pull it up, Carm, why don't you start things off with the first game? Obviously, defending cup champions.
I'm literally going to give you one prop play that I like in each one. I don't have an NHL card up for tomorrow as of yet. I still want to go through some info and look at it with fresh eyes in the morning. So, you know, that's just the way it's going to be pretty much all season long. If I have a game up the night before, it's because I really like it, or else it's going to be the morning of. But before I do that, Andrew, I'd be remiss, and I'm going to miss some guys' names here, but I want to thank a lot of the guys for tuning in. We have a couple new members. Emilio, it looks like Vatch 1. Obviously Mason, who always tunes in. I'd love to see you. Sweet Lou as well too. T3, I think it's T3. T3, Vito Garcia, and where is it? And Ethan. Ethan actually asked about the Joel Quenneville, and Joel Quenneville is the second choice in the odds to win the Jack Adams, and I think it's because if he can somehow foster or this team and get them moving in the right direction and into the playoffs. He got them into the playoffs in a wild card spot. You could very well see him with a wild card team win the Jack Adams. So we'll see. But with that said, Andrew, I have a prop in each game for you, and a couple of them are plus money props. One of them is shots on goal prop where you got to lay a little big. So I will start it with, I believe, the first game of the day, and it allows me for the first time this year to butcher somebody's name, Andrew. And that is going to be over half a point, plus 115, a player for the Florida Panthers, Maki Samoskevich. I believe I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, someone will
I
phonetically
like
spell
that
it
bet,
out for
Carm.
me.
I
But
like it.
yes,
There's
over
shoes to
half a
fill, right, with
point.
that team. There's shoes to fill
Yeah,
right now with that team, 100%. I like that bet a
yeah,
lot.
absolutely. You look at him last season, he played like 7 games in the 23-24 season. Last season, he played 72 games, 15 goals, 16 assists, 31 points. He was -4, which isn't bad considering, uh, you're on a playoff or you're on a Stanley Cup winning team, but, -4 isn't the greatest number. But the guy had 13 minutes of ice time, and he's per game, and managed 31 points on the season. So all we need is 1 point from him. I would love to get that one. You have any props in this game?
I like that one quite a bit. I think Lundell is going to be a good guy as well to look at. I'll tell you what, Carm. I know that this isn't the most hidden prop by any means, and this isn't me going to the bottom of the barrel by any means. I think Connor Bedard's got a bone to pick. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think people kind of forgot who Connor Bedard is last year. Everyone talking about Macklin, Celebrini, all the new kids coming up. Bedard still knows who he is, and I think that as much as they haven't really built much around him in Chicago, I feel like he's got to kind of carry the team as well. All good players, Carmen, if he's supposed to be a generational player, have to be able to carry a team on their back. So I think that we can see Connor Bedard do it. I think over 2.5 shots on goal for Bedard could be a bet, and I think we could see him get a power play point potentially here. But using the Odds Logic page here, which of course, guys, you can head over to oddslogic.com/AM and you can get a free 7 days. But more importantly, guys, make sure you're always shopping around, get the best number you possibly can. But what I'm going to do here, Carm, is go to the first period, and I'm going to go to the first period over. -114 at Pinnacle, -118 Bet Online, -122 FanDuel, -125 at DraftKings. So you guys see it right there. You're betting a first period over. Look at the difference right there, long term. -114, -118, -122, 125. Carm, doesn't sound like a lot for people, but it definitely adds up. My whole thing with this, Carm, is that I think that there's going to be that little bit of hesitancy and that little bit of the banner raising night kind of lacking the effort and offensive and defensive prowess that we usually should expect from Florida. And Chicago comes out with that underdog mentality. They get a goal in the first period. But you got to think I'm crazy to think that Florida is not going to bounce back as well. I could easily see both teams getting on the board in the first period. So how do we know hockey is back? Well, Carm, I'm starting off my 2025-2026 NHL season with a first period over bet. Chicago,
God
Florida,
bless you,
first
sir.
period over. Let's get some
God,
goals.
God bless you. I'm going to correct myself. I have 3 prop plays across 2 games. I didn't take a prop play in the Rangers Pittsburgh game because that's one that I'm going to take a second look at in the morning, and didn't want to lead you guys off in the wrong way. But guys, if you're serious about betting hockey, just as an aside to this show, when you're making these first period bets throughout the season, search for some of these sites, and I'll give you one that I use and Andrew uses, which is EV Analytics. EV Analytics, and you register an account there, and you can. It's too early in the season; we're just starting, but you can find trends on teams eventually as the season gets going on their first period at home. How they do? Does it go over the total? Their last 3 games, 5 games, 10 games. All season long away, because sometimes these trends will pop up, and before the book can juice them, you can make some money off of it. And then when the book starts to hit them with 115, 116, 170 lines, that's when you jump off the train, because you're not going to be 170 juice on a prop play. So EV Analytics is one that you might want to bookmark. Look it up, bookmark it, register an account, and it does everything for you. You can do first periods, you can do money lines, you can do over-unders for full games as well too. So it is something to keep an eye on. one of the guys, Andrew, that if you remember, Chris, what was it? Auto
Chris Otto.
PSU or PSU
Chris
Auto?
Otto.
The
Yeah.
guy, he was doing God's work, man. He was putting out the sheets and showing you player, or team over-unders, first period, second period, full games and stuff like that. So if he's still around, hopefully we'll see him in our live chat throughout the season and shows. But that's something
I'm planning on getting him on the show, Carm. I'm getting him on this show.
Oh, awesome.
Gotta get him on here. Need to hear those trends. But I feel like it's best to wait like a little while to get him on the show because we can let the data collect a little bit. You
have to let the data collect, which is what I plan on doing with the 6 and 60. As much as I would love to start the 6 and 60 right away, let's give it a couple weeks. Let me watch how teams are. The 6 and 60 is going to be a part of the segments this year on Fridays. If there's a day like this Friday where there are no games on Friday, I will still record the 6 and 60 for Saturday, and we will just post it on YouTube and the X so you guys can find it. Andrew's going to have a same game parlay segment, which I love this idea, all season long. And I'm going to do a bankroll builder where I will start with a 5K bankroll, and I'll take no more than one game a night. And some nights I'm going to pass, and we're going to have a running balance all season long, whether it's good or whether it's bad. It is going to be up on that screen because that's how transparency works, Andrew.
Yes, sir. All right. I love that 6 and 60 segment. It's awesome going into the weekend, and it gives people a look ahead at what's going to happen. All right. There's obviously just two more games, Pittsburgh and New York. Look, guys, this is all I'm going to say about this. Oh, actually, no, Carm, before I forget, I want to mention one more thing. Defending Stanley Cup champions, very good record in season openers, 61, 26, and 16 in the last 103 games all time in openers. In the past 10 years, specifically, they have gone 5, 3, and 2 in their openers. Over the last 20 years, the record is close to even in openers, 8, 7, and 5. So while they often win, it's not a guarantee. And here's the kicker, as I mentioned, those favorites are typically and pretty much always the team that won the Stanley Cup last season. So be careful out there. But that also brings me into this next part. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they seem to be the team that everybody knows is going to be a bottom feeder. I know you don't like them this year. Nobody really likes them. But it's not like it's an auto bet, easiest bet of your life tomorrow night from where I'm sitting. I think that they're going to give up goals. I think New York's going to be a better team this year. To be honest, Carm, I'm having a tough time finding any unders I like in the first 2 days. Tuesday and Wednesday, I see a lot of these games going over. And the funny thing is we've got a lot of 5.5s as totals here, but they still have Crosby, as Mason says. Brian Rust is injured, which is a huge thing for them. When it comes to that game, I might look at team totals. I might look at first period or full game overs. I might be looking at all kinds of different stuff. I think that New York and Pittsburgh game is the best player prop game of the night. That's all I'm going to say. I think there's some really good player prop opportunities in that game.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. And I'm not high on Pittsburgh. I talked about it on today's show, and I don't mind letting you guys know about another client play because I'm going to have a lot of them throughout the season that I will update that aren't just sides and totals and player props, but some future bets along the way. But I gave out on August 28th to my clients, my NHL clients who are already signed up, the Pittsburgh Penguins under 78.5 points. They are now at 76.5. It is, we got the best number at 78.5 because it's a full win. It is a full regulation win that we saved back then. And I still like it at 76.5. Like, this is a team, when I talked about the Leafs and they're over 99 and they've done it the last 3 years, look at Pittsburgh the last 3 years. The regression is setting in. 91 points 3 years ago, 88 points 2 years ago, 80 points last season. And that 80 points, they had to win 3 of their last 4 games in regulation to even get to that, to to that number. This is one first-year coach, Dan Muse, obviously with Mike Sullivan, in New York with the Rangers now. But Andrew, I think it's a retooling year, and this is the narrative I'm taking with them is it's going to be a tough year for Pittsburgh, but it doesn't mean you auto bet against them at the beginning of the season. It's something that will eventually settle in. We see teams like Chicago and Anaheim last year get off to really good starts and then tail off. Just because they get off to a good start doesn't mean that they're a good team. So you can't look at it and say, well, if Carmine loves under 76.5, then I'm just going to fade them right out of the get-go. No, you can't because it takes a season. But it's a retooling year for them. Sidney Crosby, 38 years old. Letang, 38 years old. Malkin, 39 years old. Erik Karlsson, 35 years old. Brian Rust, 33 years old. I'm going to go on a limb right now and say I could completely see this happening. Trade deadline, Sidney Crosby becomes a rental player, and a rental player only for a team
Montreal,
the Habs. And then if they were to win the lottery as one of the bottom three teams, because I think they're going to be one of the bottom three teams in the league overall, if they win the lottery and get McKenna, who is going to be the number one pick in next year's draft, Sid returns and is the perfect mentor for a guy like McKenna. So this is how I see it happening. Trance is asking, is Circa cutting a check for Carm this year? I hope so. Circa Millions, I am 13-2 the last 3 weeks in Circa Million after a couple of bad beats. Leverage call on the Denver Broncos. Come on, that was never a leverage call. The Jaguars going for it on fourth down and not kicking a field goal and then losing to Cincinnati with Browning. But this is a hockey show. So
yes,
let's get back to hockey.
I told Dan between 30 and 40 minutes top. We're at 46 minutes right now. We got to get out of here.
Okay. I'm going to fire off two quick ones to you. You ready?
Right,
Carter Verhaeghe. Carter Verhaeghe over 2.5 shots, minus 140 tomorrow. Verhaeghe averaged over 3, and he's averaged over 3 the last 3 seasons in the NHL, I believe. And then finally, my man, Gabriel Landeskog, anytime goal, plus 280. Plus 280. I am taking that. Come on, Gabe. Do it for us. That's it. That's all I got.
All right, I've got one more for you guys. And last year, Carm, I didn't do too many props with clients. This year, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be very committed to following that bankroll management, picking my spots. This is a market that I've loved forever, and I'm going to bet more this year. Cale Makar, plus 180, power play point. Are you kidding me? This Avalanche team gets to the power play all the time. He's the quarterback power play. Do you know what he is to get a regular point, Carm? He's minus 204 to get a regular point, plus 180 to get a power play point. Usually when they get a power play goal, he touches the puck, plus 180. Carm, thanks for joining me here tonight, man. First episode of my new show. Really appreciate it, man. We'll see you tomorrow on Puck Time.
Later, boys.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching the first show of my brand new show, The Pre-Scout. Every single night, 10 p.m. Eastern, different guests or just me breaking down games, looking at the next night. Once again, it's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern the night before, but looking ahead at the next day's games. Don't get me wrong. We can talk about things that happened that night. We can talk about breaking news. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Mason. Shout out to Vito, TransCanada, Lou, T3, all of you guys that were in here packing the house, and all of you guys that watch afterwards on YouTube or X. Make sure you comment below. Let me know what you think of this season and give us your Stanley Cup winner. Your Stanley Cup prediction means the world to us. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.